Let's start off with the fact that we saw another down day for the NSE 20, down 0.2%. We lost 0.5% in yesterday's session. Why are we seeing all this negativity coming to the fore this week?
I think it's largely as a result of profit taking, which was more or less expected, in the run-up to the referendum. We saw a lot of share prices really going up, so this was more or less expected after the referendum. So we expect this probably to continue for some time this week, and then probably to start recovering from late in the week or early next week.
Just taking a look at some of the volumes, we know that volumes have basically been steady over the last couple of sessions. We know that foreigners are pretty much involved when it comes to trade on the NSE. Do you expect that to increase down the line?
Yes, definitely that is going to increase, more so with the promulgation of the Constitution, and of course the reductions, a significant reduction in Kenya's political risk. So we actually expect a lot of foreign interest in Kenya, and more so going also by the more positive macroeconomic numbers. I think definitely we're likely to see more foreigners coming in and pushing up the market.
Isaac, looking at the inflation number, we know it dropped to 3.2% in August, and that's down from 3.6% in July. We know that food inflation is one of the key elements when it comes to East Africa. Give us an indication of how it's going to be affecting the markets, the fact that we are starting to see a nice downward spiral when it comes to the inflation number in Kenya.
I think the reduction to 3.2% is definitely very welcome news to the market. But like you so rightly pointed out, the major drivers of inflation in our country is essentially food and non-alcoholic beverages, and to a certain extent also fuel and electricity costs. So as we move into the short rain season, a lot will depend, I think, on the sufficiency of the short trains, which will basically mean that there'll be no disruptions to food production, and of course that the country will not revert also to using more expensive means of generating electricity. So with those two in check, I think we are not likely to see a significant deviation in inflation from the current 3% range.
And of course, we also know that the media has been questioning the fact that we've been seeing increased prices when it comes to the fuel pumps in Kenya. There has been an explanation for it. Give us your view, and do you think that it's something that is going to be increasingly becoming a problem, the fact that we are starting to see prices at the fuel pumps increasing down the line?
I think a lot of that will basically depend on trends in international markets. Perhaps as we see a more robust and stronger recovery of major global economies, then you're definitely likely to see some more demand, going into oil and driving international prices up. And being a net importer of oil, then definitely that is likely to have a direct impact on us. The other factor I would say is the exchange rate. So if we see continued weakening in the shilling, as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, then perhaps also that would exert some upward pressure. But nonetheless, looking forward, I think with the robust earnings expected from export earnings, we don't see a lot of pressure coming on the shilling on the weakening side. So we think by and large prices are likely to maintain within current trends. Of course, given any unforeseen events.
Isaac, looking at the fixed income market, we've seen quite a lot of appetite for bonds. Do you expect this to continue? Do you think the fact that we've been seeing so many bonds coming to the fore, not only corporate bonds but also government bonds, that investors are looking far more to the bond market as opposed to the equity market?
I think definitely that is likely to continue, more so when you consider the fact that most short-term interest rates are basically below 3%, and there's not much expectation in terms of them moving up significantly above that range. So there's definitely going to be a search for higher yields, and definitely bonds are likely to play into that. And so we actually see a lot of activity or rather interest coming into bonds, and that moving the bond market moving forward.
Just taking a look at the likes of East African Cables, a company that has come under significant pressure after it announced a slump in first half pre-tax profits, in fact down 93%. That's the number that we saw released from this company. Do you think that we could see a turnaround for East African Cables, or do you think that there's still more negativity to come?
Well, the company had actually released a profit warning a few weeks back, pointing out that there's going to be a significant reduction in their earnings, which has basically come out. So on the surprise side, yeah, The market wasn't as surprised as one would have expected, but well, it was probably an initial reaction. But moving forward, especially since the reduction in earnings came from an underperforming subsidiary in the region, where restructuring is said to have commenced, we think that the company is likely to recoup lost gains and possibly post much stronger earnings moving forward. So we think even at current prices, well, the stock might actually be a good buy.
Isaac, just very quickly, your stock picks for the week.
Stocks, I would say Safaricom would still be one of the stocks to look at. Other stocks I think would be Mumias, also very, very interesting to look at on the buy side. Kenya Oil and of course the banks.